right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is the Arnell Agenda. This is actually our first episode of 2021. I was inspired to fire up this particular episode because I watched a movie today that had been recommended to me by many people over the course of the last several weeks. I gotta be honest, I really put off watching this film. I was not interested in it at all. I guess it's hard to not be biased. I guess I'm biased. I guess people, when you're human, you're biased. You know, as a law enforcement official, an 11-year veteran of my police department, I have a particular, threshold for my suspension of disbelief when it comes to law enforcement entertainment. When I am watching a movie about cops, it's difficult for me to suspend my disbelief to a certain degree. And this film, American Skin by Nate Parker, I think I was expecting more from this movie based on what everybody was saying about it. I mean, for weeks I was listening to people talk about how this film, it tells a story from both sides. It addresses the concerns of all parties from both sides. It tells you, it raises so many questions, and there's such a diverse representation of law enforcement in there. I was really expecting a far more balanced telling of the story, especially once it was spoiled for me the way that it ended, that it was actually the main character in this film took such an anticlimactic approach toward his goal. His goal overall was very anticlimactic. I'll apologize because I've actually started this podcast and haven't decided whether or not I want to do spoilers. But I feel like so many people have seen this film already because everybody's been talking about it. I feel like I can talk about the way the film is. I can actually spoil the film. It's actually been out for a while, but I don't feel like the film told the story that it could have told. It could have told a far more honest story. It could have had a more satisfying ending, but it took the popular approach toward the end. In the end of a film that took the time to humanize every character in the film, it did a fantastic job of humanizing the characters in the film. When I say the acting in this film is incredible, I couldn't take my eyes off the movie. Everybody in the film did such a fantastic job, with the exception of the one Puerto Rican guy who played the sergeant. I can't remember his name. He's a veteran actor. I've seen him in a million things. He was okay. He had one thing where he was going back and forth with this Spanish prisoner. He just wasn't, that wasn't very convincing. Other than that, like minute and a half, the acting in this film is spectacular. Everybody does such a great job. Nate Parker does a great job as a man who's lost his son to a police officer. His 14-year-old son is shot by a police officer. The kid who plays his son does a fantastic job of playing a hard-headed 14-year-old kid who's learning about his rights and questioning authority. Does a great job. The officer who shot him does a great job portraying an officer who was in fear for his life and following his training and doing what he thought was the right thing at the time. Everybody does such a wonderful job acting that you feel the humanity in every single character in this film. And in the end, it just takes the popular approach to police, which is that they're all violent racists. That we're all violent racists. And I have to say we because I'm a police officer. You know, I can't ignore that. I can't act like they're not talking about me when you talk about police. So when it took that approach at the very end of just the last 2 minutes of this film, the last like 90 seconds of this film just fucking destroyed it for me. It just destroyed it for me because it just went right back to that fucking Hollywood approach to filmmaking, which is to simply demonize the police. You spend all this time humanizing these characters just to turn around and turn the police back into violent racists. I struggle with my suspension of disbelief when it comes to police films, media, where police officers are just portrayed as racist, because I have spent the last 11 years going into dangerous neighborhoods, some of them largely minority. I now work in a part of the city where there are mostly white communities, but I've spent most of my career working in Black and Hispanic, Black and brown communities where there are high rates of violent crime. And I have had to stand side by side and fight alongside white cops risking their lives in neighborhoods that they're not from for people that they don't know. So when I see police portrayed as mostly racist, I have to think about the hundreds of times that I have raced towards the sound of gunshots in Black neighborhoods with white cops. And I struggle with that. They humanized the police officer who shot this young man in the film. They humanized them so much, but then they turned around and he profiled them before he stopped them. I don't even know that makes it murder that he killed the kid who he thought had a gun. I don't even know if the fact that he stopped him for an inarticulable reason, I don't even know if that makes that murder. But even if it does, you didn't have to write it that way. The film didn't have to be written that way. You didn't have to demonize the police officer in this film. But that's the way. It's just not popular. It's not popular to humanize cops. You know, it's not popular to watch police officers do their job and recognize the humanity in them. So I was disappointed in the very, very ending of this film. What I will say is, everybody was right. It's riveting. It's an edge of your seat, attention grabbing. Oh my God, I can't take my eyes off this movie. It's told in a very unique way. It's kind of like a mockumentary type situation. It's a very, very good film with a wretched fucking ending, with a very disappointing ending. Very typical Hollywood cop film ending. It's sad it's sad the way it ends, but it's also sad that they chose to end it that way, because they simply didn't have to. It was absolutely just a decision to demonize the police at the very end of this film. It's an absolute exposition in what everybody thinks of the police anyway. And when you get to the end, you realize I didn't even have to watch this movie. I could have just watched the news, because this is what's in the media anyway. I didn't learn anything new. I didn't see anything groundbreaking. You took everything groundbreaking about the film and you just erased it with basically a 6 o'clock news flash at the very end of the story. So I would recommend you guys watch the film American Skin with Nate Parker. Omari Hardwick is in there. Ghost from. Listen, if one more of y'all tell me that I look like Ghost from Power, first of all, I disagree. Second of all, I mostly only get it at work. I guess Ghost. I never watched Power, but I guess Ghost was a really well dressed because I mean, I'm a detective. I usually am wearing a shirt and a tie to work. I like to wear a shoulder rig on occasion, and I usually get it at work. You know, you look just like Ghost from. I disagree, but you know, since I'm the one here in real life, you could say, you know, Ghost from Power looks like you because Ghost is the one who's a fictional character. I'm the real thing. All right, but check out American Skin. It's on Amazon. They're making you pay for it. It's a rental, which is fair. It's a good film. It's very entertaining. It's got a terrible ending. I will stand on that. I stand on that. I'm gonna take that to my grave. The ending of this film fucking sucks. It's not thoughtful. It's just not. It's not fair. And it's not thoughtful. But that's me. That's my opinion. And you hit the fucking play button. You were looking for my opinion when you hit the fucking play button, all right? So don't beat me up. Don't beat me up about my opinion, all right? God damn it, you hit the play button. I appreciate that, though. Thank you for checking me out, man. This is the Arnell Agenda. My name is Lawrence Arnell, and I thank you for tuning in. We're going to do a lot more of this year. I fell off a lot last year because of the pandemic and not wanting to just kind of do this by myself. But fuck it. I got the mic, I got the recorder, and I got the platform. So I'm going to talk to y'all. All right? In the meantime, y'all be safe and be good to each other. Whatever you do, do good first. Peace.